Thanks, Madam Deputy President. I rise to take note of documents numbers 8, 9 and 10. The tabling of these amendments to the regional forest agreements for the Central Highlands, East Gippsland and the North East regions of Victoria is a very simple summary of what these amendments to our logging laws do. They allow ongoing industrial-scale forest and wildlife-destroying clearfell logging to continue in our precious forests for another 2 years, and outrageously for this to continue with exemptions from our country's environmental protection laws. These logging laws are outdated, they are destructive and they are not achieving the environmental and economic purposes for which they are intended. Instead of extending them, the federal and state governments, the federal government, the Victorian Labor government, should have scrapped them, should have sent them to the dustbin of history where they belong. I introduced legislation into this place 3 months ago that did just that, that recognised that the ongoing logging of our precious forests is a question of justice across generations. We are stealing a healthy future from our young people today. And I challenge all of us in this place to consider how we will feel if we can't offer our children and grandchildren the same experiences in the natural world that we are able to have, that we experience as children. If they can't enjoy camping by a crystal clear river fringed by wonderful forest, if they can't marvel at birds like the sooty owls, the powerful owls that live in these forests, or the creatures like leadbeater's possums or greater gliders, which are critically endangered, and their homes, their nesting sites, their food supplies have been destroyed. The regional forest agreements, when they were introduced 20 years ago, they were meant to provide long-term sustainable forest management to protect these complex ecosystems and to ensure the health of the wildlife living in these forests, as well as governing the production of timber from these forests and to maintain jobs. And they have failed in every regard. And by extending these logging laws for a further 2 years, the federal government and the Victorian Andrews Labor government have teamed up to continue to be destroying our precious wildlife, to be destroying our carbon stores, trashing our carbon stores, to be polluting our air, drying up our water supplies and undermining the tourism hotspots and the current and future jobs of locals who rely on all of these. Under the regional forest agreements that have been extended for a future 2 years, these forests are being logged, mulched, pulped and burnt. The extension to the RFA in the Central Highlands area will allow logging to continue to occur in the habitat of the Victorian state animal emblem, the leadbeater's possum, which is critically endangered. Their primary habitat, the amazing, beautiful mountain ash forests, are in such dire condition that their ecosystem is now listed in itself as critically endangered. Instead of extending the regional forest agreements, we need to scrap them and move the remaining just 13% of the industry that is still logging our native forests into sustainable plantation forests. We're in a situation where 87% of the wood that is coming from Australia is coming from plantations. That percentage is rising every year. We do not need to continue to log our precious native forests in order to be growing wood. I mean, wood's a great product when it's produced sustainably, when it comes from plantations, when it comes from agroforestry and farm forestry. That's where the bulk of the wood that's coming from Australia is now coming from. The native forest-based industry is the absolute rump of the industry, and yet these logging laws are just continuing that for another 2 years and continuing it with exemptions from our federal environmental protection laws. This extends for another 2 years. With another 2 years that logging operations will be exempt under the conditions of our Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act. This is outrageous. It's not what the people of Australia want. When people find out that our precious forests are still being logged, they are outraged, and rightly so. And so governments that are continuing to allow this ongoing logging, they are going to be bearing the brunt of that at the ballot box, and it will be on their heads.